people? Welcome, welcome, welcome. The crew are back once and for all to wrap up the 2022-23 season. Um, in a very cool fashion, because what we pride ourselves most on is accountability here, and it's time to call Oaks to task. It's time to make sure that we just wrap up the season in the best way possible. Make sure we tighten up any loose ends, and make sure that anyone who had a hit or a miss is just either praised or held to task for that, and that's what we're about to get into. This is the hits and misses episode of Debates Never Die. I'm joined by Khanya, Sheiks, and T-Boy Tobi. Welcome, gentlemen. Are you guys ready?
Yes.
Of course.
Tobi's day.
Oh, goodness.
So yeah, we're just about to get into it. I think the key for this episode is just to make sure that, we throw a lot of takes out there, we put our opinions out there, and that's part of the game. You're going to get some things right, you're going to get some things wrong, but the things you get wrong, that's what we live for, and that's what we enjoy, because then we get to call you out, we get to bring you to task, and what better way to do that than on our podcast. So I'm just going to get started off with a light one. Looking back at the season that was, obviously, in the Premier League. At the start of the season, lots of change in the off-season last season. But I'm going to start with you, Tobi. A very bold prediction that you had for us at the beginning of last season. You told us about a team in North London that was, ready to break into title contention, perhaps even just trouble Man City's reign. You told us about Spurs finishing second in the Premier League. This was after the window that they had, Conte staying, signing Richarlison for 50M. Not the season that you predicted, but just tell us a bit more about what you saw and whether you want to hold on to that. What went wrong for your boys there?
Like Chiellini once said, it's the history of Tottenham Hotspurs, mate. Those guys, I expected more. Antonio Conte
From Perisic.
What?
From Perisic. Who? Like which guy? Which guy did they sign that you thought, these guys are finishing top two?
Probably been one of the biggest parts of the Croatian team that have done well in the international phases of most competitions that they've.
Nah. Sorry. This guy.
Guy's saying, man like Perisic, he's a very, very good player.
This guy, hold on. I hate to cut you off with your CNN voice. We're not going to put this down to is there history. Fuck that, dude. You missed. Hold the miss. What did you see in Spurs that told you second and title contending?
Bro, so I went back and checked, right? This was then, they had just signed Richarlison and Simon Longley. They had Longley, Bissouma, and Richarlison, and this boy said, F Liverpool, who just competed for a quadruple. He said, lost those guys. I've got Spurs as my number 2 pick, man. Nah, no
dude. I'm sorry. This BBC News, dude. Nah, chop. Either hold your L or confess that Conte is your uncle. One of the two.
What I saw at the time was Bissouma coming off that season that he had at Brighton, an exceptional player. That was basically the guy I thought that was going to take them to that next level. And then Kulusevski, obviously Harry Kane, they deserved more. Someone like Khanya Conte, I thought he was going to transform that whole team. And he did for a stage. And then obviously the team went through turmoil. They lost that guy who passed away. There's a lot of things that happened at the club that I think are out of our control. But I think that
bro said like he was on the team.
No,
guy, bro. You didn't even mention one defender. You realize that? That was my whole issue. That was my whole issue. You were backing this team with no back four, bro.
I won't lie, Khanya and I would die because I was in turmoil.
Bro, I know.
What?
No, listen.
Sorry.
Wait, okay, Oaks, but that's my point though. So they went through a lot, so we can't really blame.
So okay, fine. Then what I want to ask you now?
No. I'm sorry, Thabani. I'm sorry. I'm not letting this slide. Tobi, what you provided as an explanation is unacceptable.
Wait, why?
I need you to know right now that going into this next season, if you try and do this again, there will be a trial you have to stand.
What do you mean? What do you mean if he tries? He's already started. Bro, with them again. Go check his Twitter.
Bro, he's referring to the passing of Conte's friend, the medical staff. What? That's why they finished 7th. No. And it sounds harsh to say. It sounds almost inhuman. Niggas die every day, B.
Jesus.
Come on. That's not why they finished there. That's not. There are footballing reasons. There are footballing reasons why they finished where they finished. I need you to come forward and say, "Oh, I was wrong. I believed in Conte." What you just
Wait.
tried to do, Toby, in front of
Sorry,
us.
sorry, boys. Oaks, can I please add an element to this hits or misses episode? Let the Oak must stand trial, and we must either determine guilty or not guilty based on
That's
the
what I'm thinking.
explanation.
No,
Please.
I agree.
Toby has
And
no
Toby,
explanation. He said the guy died.
Toby, life
Do
in
you
prison.
plead guilty or not guilty, Toby, on your miss there?
Okay, yeah, I plead guilty. But this season,
Thank you,
Thank you.
ladies and
Thank
gentlemen. We got him. We got him.
Oh shit. Okay, sorry. Fuck.
Okay, so we've got our first successful guilty plead here. Toby's accepting that it was just ridiculous. I'm actually I'm so glad that happened, Looks. I'm so glad that happened because you guys know I was pressing Toby the whole season. But Toby, before we move on to the next person, I think you do deserve credit because you did have a hit really very early on in the season. You told us about Liverpool in the Community Shield losing their juice, and I remember Khanya and I went in on you. And yeah, it seems like they did lose their juice and not have the season that we expect them to have. Is there anything you'd like to say about that? Would you like to claim your hit there?
Yeah,
Thank
you
you
clear.
very
Yeah, that was a hit.
I'll claim
That
that.
was big. It was big.
There's more that will come in the middle of the episode, but that's the first one, and I'll take it. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
May I have the floor here, Thabani?
We're going to move on straight to you, Sheiks. We're ready for you. So who would you like to call out for the
You
hit
already
or miss?
knows. You already knows. Can we please have Mr. Khanya Mosethli stand trial for his belief in one Aryan? Let me check my notes. Kai Havertz.
Oh my goodness, this is big.
While we're here,
This is big.
while we're here, please check out my Medium article on Arsenal season preview. Out now, in where I address my expectations for Kai Havertz.
Hey, save your plugs. Save your plugs for the end. I just want to give the listeners some context, right? So this is quite a big one for us because since the time frame of the miss, I guess, Kai Havertz has not only had an average season, but he's also signed for the mighty Gunners, who happen to be Kanya's very own team as well as Sheiks. So Sheiks, just tell the audience a bit more about Kanya's claim about Mr. Havertz.
Oaks, I've seen this man, right? And let me actually give background. Somebody, you're right. Let me give background as to why this take grates my soul. We all know Khanya. I've known him for slightly longer. This guy is a football purist. And when I say he's a football purist, I mean the players he tends to stand or the players he tends to support are some of the most technically supreme, like upper echelon, top 1% players, right? Robin van Persie is the first name that comes to mind. With that as background, right, he's also slandered some good players on the basis of them not being technical players.
Could you name a few of these players?
Jonathan David. Jonathan David is a good player that you just don't rate because of his limitations. Lautaro Martinez is another one. And I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just saying the inconsistency for this to be the case. How can you slander these men? Then tell us. Sorry, who was that? Does anyone want to chime in yet?
No, I'm saying very inconsistent. You're right. Very, very.
Thank you. And then you slander those players. Then you come and tell us Kai Havertz is going to be a top 5. Bro, please actually tell the people. I don't want to misquote you. What is your claim?
Top 5 in his position in whatever league he's in.
Wasn't there something about being top 3 if he leaves?
It was top 3. It was top 3, not top 5.
It was top 3.
It is definitely top 3.
Alhamdulillah.
And sorry, he didn't say it in his position, bro. He said top 3 player in whichever league he goes to. That means he's competing against the best goalkeepers, the best defenders.
It was not top 5 in the world. You're cooking it now.
Khanya, plead.
Stand trial on this one, bro. Let's start off with what did you see in Havertz that had you making such claims in year 3 of his horrible Chelsea career?
Okay, so I'd like to point out that before Havertz had even moved to Chelsea, I'd already said, no, this guy is the truth. I had stocks long before then. He moved to Chelsea in his first season. He scores in the Champions League final. Right? I felt vindicated. I felt, you know what, even though he hadn't performed amazingly, even in that time at Chelsea, the idea is, the picture they had in mind for him was clear. They knew what they wanted to do with him. Chelsea changed coaches 4 different times in that, like, the idea of what Havertz was when he signed versus who he is now, I'll be honest with you. He's not the same thing. I don't know who he is anymore. I'm unsure.
This
I'm
guy,
unsure.
this guy's, this
I
guy's
no
making
longer.
this guy's making Havertz sound like an Eminem song. Nah,
Bro, that's
G,
it. I
nah.
feel like he's like, bro, I
I
was
know.
gonna say.
I no longer recognize the footballer that I first suggested could be that player. However, I am going to say not guilty, with the caveat being,
Oh,
if
Mm.
Havertz plays as a player in the front three, as I believe that is the only way he can do this, or right behind the striker, then there is absolutely nothing I can do. I cannot attest for what they do if they make Havertz a midfielder. He's not. I don't believe
Can
that's what
we,
he is.
can we please clip this? We need to speak to our technical oaks to clip this, and I want them to just put the compilations of Havertz running the ball out of the pitch. I think there's like eight different ones. With Khanya speaking, saying he must play as a forward player. They must clip it there. And
No,
mate,
look.
was he not a 9 at Chelsea?
He was, and he was
He
Chelsea's
was
top
fourth.
scorer last season.
He was
With
what?
how many goals?
He was Chelsea's top scorer last season. Hey, Chelsea was shit. He was Chelsea's top scorer last season.
Oh,
That
you
is
see
what I'm
what
putting on
kills
the
me.
table.
But when I said the same thing about Lukaku when he left, people said, "Nah, you can't be saying that Chelsea were ass." Was he not their top scorer before he?
Yes,
Was he not?
yes, he was. And where is Lukaku now, man?
No, you
Jobless.
see.
They shipping
He's
him out all
dating
over
Meg the
Europe.
Stallion. He's a stallion. That's where he is.
So I
Yep.
think
So
so.
this is no
Kanya,
longer
you're holding
football
on to
discussion.
you're pleading not guilty.
As I've said in the group before, I am giving Havertz until the end of this season.
Oh,
This is
my-
the year. If at the end of the year
My
I'm still wrong,
God.
I will stand trial and I will renounce him publicly. Until then,
Wait,
give
wait,
me
can you,
room.
let me ask you one question though, because you say that he's not going to work as a midfielder. Fair enough, right?
Mhm.
But he can't. He doesn't start in that Arsenal team. Let's be honest, in the front three, does he?
I don't think that when we so rigid, we'll stick to this one set lineup the entire season.
Okay, fair enough. But do you think you'll play enough games where you'll be able to be proven right? That's my question. We start enough and have play well enough.
There's no version of Havertz that can perform this season and be a top 5 striker in the league this season. It's not about this season. It'll just be that my belief is that after the season, Oaks will be able to see a bit more clearly
So
why I think there
Okay.
is a
Let
way
me ask.
forward.
Let me ask you a question. What does this top 5 in the league Havertz look like now that we know what kind of season are we expecting? Is he a goal
Like
threat, Mr.
okay,
Assist, Mr. Box to Box?
all
Describe
round
it
goal
to me.
all round goal contributions of like 20 goals and assists like combined. I think that would be the type of level he could like consistently produce, like constantly. That's what he'd be showing, as well as his general associative play. Like he'd be a very useful forward for a top side.
Well, not a
Can
top
I just
side. He plays for Arsenal.
Yeah.
Can I just say this, Khanya? I do think with Havertz, if I can just stop announcing you for a second, with Havertz in this Arsenal team, if Arteta can actually be innovative in the sense we know he's innovative in what he does, his plan A, but if he can be innovative in like a plan B or C, I can see Havertz and Eddie Nketiah doing a bit of havoc as a pairing. Like those two specifically, they both really like their movements in the box, how they play, how both can kind of play off of another striker, another presence up there. In that type of situation, I can see Havertz being a somewhat decent signing. However, we know this Mikel guy. It's going to be in a 4-3-3, and he's either going to be leading the line or he's going to be an 8. And I'm here to tell you, sir, he's not the guy.
Look,
maybe he'll work as a target man. Maybe.
as the target man, I don't know. That guy looks like he's got kwashiorkor sometimes. I don't know if it's
Yeah, I know he looks malnourished. He doesn't. He looks famished. I won't lie.
I'm just thinking of that gif, when he's like acting like a T-Rex, bro.
But as I said, check the article. I highlight specifically if he doesn't play as in the forward line, all bets are off. I'm not dying for that man if that's the case.
Okay, so can we please get a conviction here? Khanya is pleading not guilty. Where do you lie, Toby?
Cap, he should be guilty. Guilty as
Thabani?
I'm happy to say that Khanya will face a retrial this time next year. I'm happy to pass it on to retrial.
Okay, no, that's fair. That's fair. Personally,
we'll get him next year. Don't worry about that. We'll get him next year.
personally, life in prison. But okay, that's fine. Should we highlight Khanya? Do you have a hit? Sorry, Khanya. Do you want to highlight a hit of yourself?
Yeah, there's no hits.
I mean, I said that Ronaldo should be in Qatar. He ended up in Saudi Arabia.
Mm.
Said that in July. I was ridiculed at the
Mm.
Oh,
time.
yeah. There we go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There
So
we go.
I
Yeah.
think I'll take that as my hit. Toby at the
Yep.
time believed he'd still be here.
And me
unfortunately
and me.
Mm. No,
No, but I
I'm
don't
good.
think it's wait. Sorry, can I put my case forward for that? Because
Please.
I don't see how that can be a hit when we know the situation now with what's going on with the Saudis and their cash. Like any player, even fucking Brozovic has gone there, bro. Like
True.
why would
True.
he go?
So Brozovic,
No.
another footballer who had no suitors, ended up in Saudi.
Okay, and Jota from Celtic,
Savage.
the kid's like how
Savage.
old?
Savage.
Milinkovic Savic,
Yeah.
the false prophet, the man linked with the
Ah.
move every year with nowhere to go.
That motherfucker is not real.
Are, are, are,
Wow.
are those the players I must die for? I don't know, man. Like
Benzema.
Benzema, Mahrez,
Kante. Firmino. Mahrez.
Fabinho.
Dude, come on.
Okay,
Kanya, I stand with
Benzema.
you. I stand with you.
Thank you. Benzema has just come off his first season where he couldn't play 30 league games. Benzema is 35 years old. I think it's okay that he's going to Saudi.
And the other names you mentioned.
Just won the treble at City.
Okay,
I
and
think it is
Fabinho,
okay that in a season when he's finally accomplished it, he's on his way out. Firmino, his contract at an end. He doesn't want to stay in the Premier League. He refused to stay at Liverpool. He's 31 years old. He started 13 league games, Toby. 13, 1-3, brother. I think Ganacho started more than him. I'm not sure. Bro, these are players that are near the end of their careers. It's okay. It's actually fine. It's fine that they're leaving.
Kanya,
I was on board with
I'll
you.
give it to you.
I
I'll
was
give it
on
to
board with you and ready to concede because I was also with Toby saying Ronaldo shouldn't go. But then Toby made a good point, dude. Like the Saudi league is actually just expanding. It isn't just
No,
a
look,
retirement home.
the Saudi
Ruben
league is
Neves.
a threat.
Ruben
I'm
Neves.
not saying
Ruben
I'm not
Neves.
denying the Saudi league as a whole. I am saying that the examples provided at this point in time do not do enough to mean that Toby is not catching that miss.
But on the
Okay.
flip side, Ronaldo leaving also had a bit to do with the Man United side of things, and he was right about Ronaldo leaving United. And United, I think, ended off. The season United had wasn't bad, wasn't great, but I don't think Ronaldo staying would have contributed to any success. So I think you can claim it on that side of Ronaldo should leave, and he should probably end up not in the MLS. Not that he could, but so yeah, I'll give it to LLM.
Thank you.
You think Ronaldo up top instead of Woots in an FA Cup final won't be any different?
It's about getting to that final. It's about the league games in between. It's about him not being able to press. It's about the wanting to play 90 minutes. It's about that stuff. It's about him leaving the field against Spurs and leaving the stadium early. We had to deal with all of that baggage, bro. That's the stuff that had to go.
I've got
more. I think
one more. He went on.
You've got one more.
One more miss from Khanya.
Let's hear you.
Went on to say on the 8th of June 2022 at 12 minutes past 12, Nunes is going to score more than Haaland in the Premier
League.
And then wait. Let me not lie.
Yeah.
He then went on to say, or rather, he's going to score in more games, which is still bad and he still missed. But that's what he said. Or rather, he's going to score in more
I don't want to hear what he has to say. Arrest him.
No,
you can go. Lock him up.
I will acknowledge I was being edgy. I wanted to be against Haaland any way I could. That's my L. Shop.
But that's quite the L, man. Like to go against Haaland. I mean,
bro.
Yeah.
That's life in prison. You're chilling with Lanes and the boy.
Honestly, I catch that L because I was being a foolish man. There was no reason to do that. It was unnecessary. I was being edgy. That's my bad. That's my bad.
Well done, Toby. We got him.
He
almost got away. He almost got away with it. If it wasn't for that meddling kid, Toby. Well done, Toby. But Khanya will bring you into the spotlight. Then I think it's your time to shine. Who would you like to call out for a miss this past season?
I think two easy ones. I'll get back to the boys in the group in a few. But first of all, Mvu in absentia. I must say, expecting Barca to finish top of the group featuring Bayern and Inter, a little bit crazy. Cheeks, brother.
I'm in that one.
Because you agreed
I'm in
with
that
them.
one. I'm in that one.
That's yours too. So thank you, sir. I think no. catching you guys on that one was a very sweet moment for me. What else? What else? Tab, brother, I think Sheiks and I both told you about it early on. Ericsson to United, a
Yep.
great transfer. I think one you wouldn't
Yep.
have.
Okay.
I think you got to come forward for that miss.
No top four. No top four without Ericsson. I promise you right now.
100%.
Okay. You know what? I'm feeling good. I'm feeling gracious. I'll grant you guys that one. But I do want to give the audience a caveat. If you guys remember what I said is I didn't read it's not that I had a problem with the signing, but remember he was the first guy we signed, right? As a
And
free
your best
agent.
player.
No, but just I'm saying the reason I wasn't so stoked, and I did put it on the group, was I even remember the message. I said I would be happy if he wasn't the first guy, and I said I'll be happy as long as we sign another guy. That other guy ended up being Casemiro after we lost 4-0 to Brentford, which is great now in hindsight. But at the time, the day that we signed him, when I wasn't gassed, you guys can understand why I wasn't stoked. But yes, Ericsson, especially in the first part of the season, because he was found out towards the end. I think that injury did hamper him a lot. And I think his physical level is just not where it needs to be now. But that period when we were cooking something in the first stage of the season, it was largely down to the control that Ericsson brought to the midfield. So happy to accept that it ended up being not a bad signing for United. But he does need to be replaced now. We all accept that he's not really a 38 game starter for United. So yeah, I'll give you guys that. You can hold me accountable for that.
Okay.
I just want to just comment on that. I don't think he needs to be replaced as much as he needs to be supplemented. And by that, I mean, you can have Ericsson playing 45 to 60 minutes week in, week out, in my opinion, in the Prem, for example. If you have the right player coming off the bench to replace him or to sway games, whether that's like a defensive-minded player or an offensive-minded player, I think there's something there or something that isn't easily replaceable as a deep line playmaker. So I just think Ericsson should stay. Honestly, I know I've seen a lot of United fans, justifiably so. The age, of course, you pointed out the health. But I don't know, man. When you have someone like Bruno on the pitch, and now you have Mason Mount, who's also of that ilk, being a bit more risky in how they approach the game, you need that calming presence. And I don't think there are many players in world football that can do it as well as Ericsson, even at this age with all of his limitations. So I just wanted to add that. I think if you guys are in the market for another midfielder, maybe a more neutral one, now that you have someone like Mount off the bench or starting or whatever, that could do you guys a lot better, in my opinion, than just shipping him off.
Yeah.
I think I have to commend you. That was a very nice way of saying niggas that lose the ball. You said what? Risky in their approach. No, those niggas lose the ball, man. That's what they do.
That's Bruno's quote. I'm a risk taker. I take risks. That's what he told us.
And he does take risks.
That's
I
hard.
like Bruno, though. I have an appreciation for Bruno.
That rat.
You know my feelings on that. I second you all the way. But let's not get into that. Khanya, any more misses from your side? Anything else you'd like to call someone else for?
I think I'm good. I spent most of the year pointing out Tobi's ridiculous takes. I want to build on next year. I think we can leave it at that for now.
I would like to come forth.
Come forward.
Sheiks, come to the stand.
This is directed at Dave Chappelle's clone, Rindai, and I'm gonna send you guys a picture of Dave Chappelle when he was young and Rindai when they were young, and you'll see why that comment is gold. But in any case, Rindai told me game week 4 that Firmino was finished, and Firmino is the only reason Liverpool mounted any comeback via the second half of the season. In that same game week, he told us that Bournemouth were the worst team in the division. Hello. Yes. So I just like to call him out whilst he can't defend himself. And if you listen to this, I'd like to say this, sir, stop bragging and watch some football. I'd also just like to give myself, in my opinion, the greatest hits of the year. And you guys can determine this. But I believe these three are the best this season. You guys will let me know. The first was Argentina winning the World Cup, because I told you, man, maybe 6, 7, 8 months before, I told you, man, after Saudi Arabia did that and Khanya felt Saudi, I did not falter. I did not shake. I told you, man, looked you in the eye or virtually that Argentina were winning the World Cup. That's the first one. The second one, And sorry, on the Argentina points, I even said that Martinez would win them the World Cup. Anyways. The second one, and this is my favorite one.
Hey now.
What did Martinez do?
No, he said.
Hey.
I remember he tweeted. I think he said that as a
Emiliano, not the keeper, not the striker.
Oh,
there's too many Martinez on that team. I just realized, man, because I thought you were talking about Lautaro.
No. He almost killed us. He killed us.
Okay.
No. The keeper.
Okay, fair enough.
The second one, and this is by far my favorite. T-Boy, remember what I said about Spurs, bro? Second half of the season.
Oh, that they'll die out.
I first episode we ever recorded of Debates Never Die. I said on the back end of Toby's point of Spurs finishing second, I said first half I can see these guys being hot. I can see them being a problem and lying their way to games, maybe being in contention for second or third. I think I said second if I'm not mistaken, which was quite literally the case. How many 1-0 victories did they have where they were lying or they came back? I think it was against Bournemouth where they literally came back last few. Then I said second half of the season, England are going to have the most heartbreaking exit from the World Cup. Harry Kane's going to go into depression and the team is going to fall apart. Granted, Harry Kane picked himself back up, but there was I think a 6-game period from like January until about end of February with this guy. he was sore. So I think that's my favorite hit. And then finally, and this one it's a not full realization yet, but I won't lie, it's cooking. It's cooking and you can, if you guys just open your nostrils, you can catch the pheromones. This one is cooking. What I said about Mbappe, how I said Khanya, remember I said Mbappe is going to be the reason Mbappe is not the player everyone thinks he's going to be. And now look at this mess of a situation at PSG. I'm just saying the whole reluctance to sign the new deal, the sending of the letter, the fracture of the relationship between the two, the situation he's put Real Madrid in, right, at this point in time, because I think Madrid's whole plan was to get him next season on a free. So Mbappe kind of operated in bad faith in the sense that obviously players can sign deals knowing that they're going to leave, right? But this guy signed that deal with PSG and went to Perez allegedly saying, don't worry, you'll get me on a free. Hence why Perez can drop this bomb on Jude and all that money. And now there's conversations of who can afford Mbappe. The PSG director saying this guy leaves this season or he's not leaving on a free. I'm just saying this guy's ego, and it's still cooking. This is still a bit premature, but I want to double down on this. This guy's ego, his demeanor, the way in which he conducts himself is the number one reason why he will not enter, in my opinion, that Messi Ronaldo bracket of greatness. Now, he's still going to be a great player. But when people look at him and say GOAT or GOAT contention, I'm thinking he's going to be second tier. I think he's going to be with the Henrys, the Ronaldos, that tier of forward, as opposed to the Messis and the Ronaldos. And this offseason for me has just been a lot of vindication of that fact because the vibes are a bit off, I won't lie. With that being said, Killian, if you hear this, the carpet is waiting for you.
No, wow. So you go back to twerk, you just rinsed him, bro. My goodness.
He needs a manager that understands young people, and that's Mikel Arteta.
So I'm happy to you guys as the jury. I'm happy to give you number one. You were very steadfast in telling us about Argentina. So yeah, I have no complaints about that. I think it was a bit shaky with the Martinez there, but you did explain you were talking about Emmy. We'll give you that one. As for 2 and 3, yeah, I guess so. We'll give those to you. Khanya, Tobi, anything you have for Shee's hits before I bring him back down to earth?
Oh shit!
Shout out to the World Cup merchant. You know World Cups. You know tournaments. You know 6-game tournaments. 100%.
Thank you. Yes. Yes. And it's
right
7. It's 7. It's 7.
I'm annoyed to have to give it to you. The Mbappe thing, I think, is still dependent on a lot of different things. I don't want to give that to you all the way at this moment in time.
Fair.
I like that you're doubling down. I like that you're going harder. You're saying that this needs a bit more. But no, look, I'm happy with it. Great stuff. Do you have any misses? Any more misses that you have in mind, folks? Or is this just you? This is where you are. Because I think
that's where I am. I think Thabani is gonna humble me quickly.
Okay. Okay.
Look,
Toby?
look,
Wait.
look. This is not. I don't want to make this. This is not an attack on Sheiks. I'd like to demand an explanation of sorts, and I think I'm going to tag in your buddy LLM too as well. I remember in the off season last season, there was a lot of excitement about a certain French club and their ambitions to win the Continental Trophy, the UEFA Champions League. And I actually have a breaking news message from the 4th of August. Breaking news: PSG Champions League winners 2022-23. From Mr. Malcom Masvikwa himself.
Yep.
And I did question it then, and I said PSG have the squad, but do they have the coach? And I was told, and I don't want to send out any accusations that are false, but I was told to believe in.
Hello. Hello.
He was told to believe in Galtier.
Did his connection chuck?
I think so. I think so.
Crazy.
Oh no! Did you guys lose me?
Yeah.
Yes, you did, but you're back.
Take it from
Okay,
I was told to believe.
Okay. I was told to believe in one Christophe Galtier. I was promised, just put a back three with Ramos, let Messi play behind Mbappe and Neymar. Vitinha's got it under control. We signed Renato Sanchez for depth. PSG are going all the way. So I just need to find out, guys, what happened? What happened? Because
Galtier's
not
racist.
only did he not deliver, for them to implode the way they did, like I wasn't following a lot, so I need you guys to tell me. Like Galtier, PSG.
Can I also just interject quickly and just quote another message, 9th of March 2022 by Khanya LLM. He goes on to say, with the most underrated coach in the world, Galtier. Add that.
Now, can I actually defend my brother LLM here?
Go ahead.
To quote the great Kanye West, racism is still alive. They just concealing it. How could we have known?
Honestly.
How could we have known this guy hates niggas, bro?
No, that just means your ID is off. Your ID, your racism ID is off a bit.
Nah. In all seriousness, though, dude, like, actually, no, Kanya, you can cook on the Galtier point. I'll cook on the PSG season point because, yeah, I didn't believe in him that much.
I think it needs to be highlighted that up until January, right, PSG were going strong. Everything was okay. It was fine. Neymar was fit. Neymar was performing. Messi was fit. Messi was performing. Mbappe was performing. Yes, he had that little weird interview or like rumor that he's going to play the striker come up. That's a whole other thing that might add to Sheik's other hits. But besides that, PSG were fine. The news broke that Galtier was raised in January. After that, it's not in my hands. I cannot defend the racist man. A man so racist that he's telling other players, I hate you, guy. You complain about the Muslim.
Bro, via email, dude. Like, it's not encrypted.
Bro, in a time where I'm feeling Saudi Arabian, I'm excited. I can't believe what's happened. It's the spirit that the Muslim people have. Galtier is out here slandering them. What must I do, dog? That's on me. I'm not going down for that one. I'm so sorry. He's arrested. He's in jail, Toby. That's on me.
and to add to this point, PSG, the capitulation came down to two things, and it's very, very clear. The first and the most clear one is Neymar getting injured. Now, I know you're gonna say it's a yearly thing, so we should have known, but you can't blame us for having faith, because to Kanye's points, including the World Cup, that man this season was looking like, I don't subscribe to the notion that Neymar has been subpar and all of that, but there was a tenacity to him that he hasn't had to the same degree consistently throughout his PSG career. He had it during the lockdown in 2020, when, in my opinion, he delivered one of the best Champions League performances I've ever seen. But for the most part, it was against Bayern, right?
Yeah.
Against
Atalanta.
There's that whole comp, bro. That comp killed.
Bro, like literally career comps can be made from those 2 games. It's those 4 games. It's incredible. But he had it back this season. He was focused. He was ready. He was getting goals, assists. He had his homie Messi back. They were creating that synergy. So that's the first thing we couldn't have factored in. The second, and this may be met with a few boos from the congregation, but I couldn't have anticipated Messi was going to win a World Cup against France. Because say what you want, that fractured the relationship that guy had with Mbappe specifically. In my opinion, I think it triggered a certain competitive edge or nature that Mbappe has inherently. Because to Khanya's point, after this came, I don't want to play as a striker. I'd prefer to play in the position. I think he even said Neymar specifically or Messi specifically, something like that. And most importantly, the relationship Messi had with the French fans. And we've all seen these ultras from PSG and how crazy they are. So those are the two things that, in my opinion, derailed from what would have been. They got the formula right. Listen, the racist was racist, but he got the formula right. Me and Khanya have been saying for years, and I don't think this can be disputed. PSG with a back three and a wing back pairing of Hakimi and Nuno Mendes, who no one really saw would be this good. It's money. It's money. Like everyone could see it. Galtier implemented it in such a good way. They truly looked unbeatable until these things came into play. So again, with Khanya, I'm not gonna. I plead not guilty because there's no way we could have known all of these factors. Like, come on, Oaks, surely.
Okay, no, that I asked for an explanation, and I think you guys are giving me one. My plan wasn't to hold you guys to PSG because that was such a far out one. I just needed an explanation, and I got one, so I'm satisfied. But I think then we've given the floor to myself. Sheiks has had it, LLM has had it. T-Boy, the floor is yours. Who would you like to call out for a miss? I know this is going to be good.
Okay. So I said this, I think it was 2017, 2018. I was going on about. I was going
Let him cook.
Whoa. Okay, that's a cap. 2020. I was going on about a player by the name of Miguel Almiron, right? I was
What?
going
God,
check this
off.
guy, bro.
Please show us. Continue.
Get a load of this guy,
I
bro.
was going on about how I think this guy, there's something there, right? And then
Yes.
let me just do something real quick. But there was a specific person on this group that told me that he was not of the level even for Newcastle United. And he went on to have 11 goals and 4 assists this season. So can we admit that Tabso has another miss? That's all.
No.
No.
Wait, why?
Because 11 goals and 4 assists.
He's not Newcastle's level. 11 goals and four assists. That's a good.
It's why he's being. And then where was he at the end of the season? Where was he after the Carabao Cup final when they were actually pushing for Champions League football? Where was he?
Against the likes of Isaac. He was competing against the likes of who else?
Yes, players that are on Newcastle's level. Yes. Now that they're a top four club.
But guys, we all know that a season is a collaborative effort. The fact that he carried them for half a season speaks to the fact that he can actually play to Newcastle's level.
Yes, because Isak was still acclimatizing. Okay, he had a good season. I won't deny that. But at the time I sent that message, did you look at my message and think, oh, what Tab's still talking about here? Almiron is clearly on. No, you didn't, mate. You didn't.
Personally, I agreed with Toby because I followed this guy in the MLS. Like, I watched Atlanta United a lot those 2 years he was cooking with Joseph Martinez. So me and Toby were fans. But I to your point, I didn't think you were mad for thinking you wouldn't cut it. I just had faith he would.
Okay, but
I'm pleading not guilty, man.
What do you mean Newcastle's level? Where did they finish last season?
11th.
Okay, so you're telling me it's not that level?
No, but we were talking about they were doing really well in the season. When did you tell me when did we have this discussion?
Okay, but even though, bro, their level shouldn't necessarily, they shouldn't even, okay, let's be honest, they're not even top 4 level right now. Let's be honest. They were lucky. I would say this whole season, they were lucky. Should have been other teams that should have been top 4, but they got there in the end. He is Newcastle's level and he'll be there next season. And I am Team Almiron. So please, Thabani, just
can I also intervene here? I won't lie. Toby, this was a good call by you, but it's cancelled out by every single Sancho opinion you have had since he's arrived. Why? So actually, it's zero. You had a zero.
Guy, you want to talk about left-footed wingers? You must be telling him about a left-footed winger in this group. Must be tell him. Does he know? Does he know? Because in next year's edition of Hits and Misses, we will know about Toby's miss. We will know about it if he carries on like this.
Okay, but then my last, obviously, I need to just, since Malcom did top 3, let me do my top 3 at least. So I predicted earlier on the season, Premier League winners, Man City. I was correct.
Oh, fuck
Oh
off.
wow, what a hit,
I
bro!
then-
You
wait,
are
what?
a visionary. You're a football goat.
Ooh.
Wait,
No one
That's
can
the
see the
first
game
one.
like you, dog.
That's that's the first one. Then went on to say Premier League top assist, Kevin De Bruyne. I was correct. Second,
Oh my God, this
Oh
guy
my-
Nobody gets it
shameless.
like Toby.
This is
Yogi.
horrible.
No
second
shame.
one.
Nobody gets it like Toby.
I then went on to say Premier League surprise team, Newcastle Premier League biggest surprise player, Joe Linton. Thank you very much and good night. So I did my
Fucking hell.
thing.
I was like, Jolinton didn't go in like that this season. I'm not.
He
What?
really
to have
didn't.
to have that little shame is
Oh, so you didn't get?
remarkable.
Why did he get called up for the Brazilian team for the first time? If you didn't do well, then please.
I won't lie. Toby.
Because Brazil's CMs aren't top half Premier League midfield for the most part. Like they
I
are.
won't lie, Toby. We should add this to your list of misses. What the hell was this segment, bro?
What do you mean,
You just named everything that a 10-year-old could have said, bro.
bro?
And then you were wrong
I was
about
right.
fucking
That's the
Jolinton.
thing. Okay, should I bring up Rendai's predictions?
Yeah, please. Let's
Nah.
cook him. Please, quickly.
Yeah, let me get some Rendai's predictions. Hey, let's laugh at this guy, please.
Well, I mean, we can start with this obvious one. He was damn sure that Madrid were going to win the Champions League, despite me telling him a very long time ago that they weren't going to. And for them to get humiliated.
He thought they'd win La Liga as well.
Yo, bro, his phone was off for 4 days. Yo,
Man said UCL winners Real Madrid. Fair enough.
They made wait, I'll lie. Toby, what you've just given us just now is not as bad as Rendai thinking the semi-finalists might have won the UCL.
Yeah, but they ended up losing 5-1. So let's laugh at him, please.
yeah, that was a bit deep. I won't lie. That was it. Yo, it's real.
I'm not gonna have semi-finalists ridiculed. They were a game away.
Okay.
Khanya, you're killing the fun. You know what killed me? What absolutely killed me was when Rendai, when the fourth goal or whatever went in, and Rendai he sends the message, I can't believe this. Oh my, the way I laughed, bro. Please, Toby, proceed.
Yeah, but then I was looking, there's a guy in this group by the name of Lebone Bones. I couldn't find any hits. I was scrolling. So guys, I was scrolling. And I'm still scrolling. I think it's something
They call him 007. They're gonna call him 007 soon. 0 hits, 0 good takes. 7 years in this group, man. It's getting scary for Bones. It's getting scary for Bones, man.
If you can help
Bones, if you're listening, you got one more season in you, bro. If you don't have any hit next season, you are in trouble, my man.
Yeah, that's basically. I can't find anything. I'm still searching, but yeah.
Well, no, actually, let me cut Bones some slack because there's something he said that I think could be a hit. When Liverpool fed United 7, he said this isn't going to derail us, and you still finished top 4. So I think that was quite a bold statement to make at that point in time because we were all kind of like, what the fuck is going on? So we have to give him that surely.
Oh yeah, but then he also said thinking United might be hot when the Premier League resumes. I think that was the ugly one.
Yeah, we were hot for 5 games, and then we lost to Arsenal. Like,
Khanya responded by, you finished.
No, but honestly, that wasn't good stuff from Bones, man. He was meant to dig deeper for the predictions you're trying to hang out. I was a bit let down, but that's where he went with it.
And then last one, sorry, he said Rashford is slowly starting to cook.
nah. No. Let's give it to him.
But Thabani, the thing is, he said it when Rashford already had like 12 goals, dude. Like Rashford was already like killing it. He said that when Rashford was up, bro. It wasn't a surprise. It's like probably when he scored a brace and he's like, yeah, he's starting to go. But like, dude, like, come on.
I'm thinking of that KD meme where he said this guy shows up when everything's already built. That was Bones on that take, bro. That was definitely Bones.
I'm finished. That's all I had. Sorry, Bones.
Fuck,
Bones.
man. Hey, we love you guys, man.
You'll get him next time.
Sorry. Now that we're on the subject of our members who couldn't be here, there is a miss I would like to call out. It's not from this season in particular. It is from 2 seasons ago. Our colleague, our brother in London, who he told us it would take 3 more years for United to win a trophy I don't know. He said, I don't see United winning a trophy for 3 more years. Brother, I don't know if there's a Specsavers near you, but go check your glasses, brother. I don't know what you're seeing, but we sorted that out quickly. So yeah, I just want to hold him to task on that one in his
But
absence.
in Mvu's defense, he is cleaning up the streets of London, saving lives. So shout out to my guy, you know.
Shout out him.
Shout out Mvu.
Fuck, that was
But
funny.
yeah,
Man.
with that, gents, I think we've covered a fair chunk of hits and misses. I think we should do this more often. It's very good to hold Oaks to task. It keeps us accountable, keeps us on our toes, and in line with the name of this podcast, the debates about our hits and misses will never die. So thank you very much, gents. We are going to now segue into our end of season awards because it is fitting to kind of look back on the season that was, and kind of just find out where we stand on certain things, bring it to a close because we've got another season of football on the way that we can definitely get excited for. So I'm just going to go around the group topic by topic and we'll just get a few shouts. I'm going to start with you, Sheiks. Who is your manager of the season? This can be in any league across the world. Who can even be international if you want. But who are you crowning manager of the season and why?
Yo, manager of the season. So it's quite obvious Mikel Arteta is manager of the season, but for me personally, but I'm going to try and play, devil's advocates or rather be objective to my own opinion. And I'm going to throw in two names into this list. Pep Guardiola, that's not a surprise, but I think what he kind of did in winning the treble and how he won the treble, I think it silenced a lot of idiots that were saying this guy he needs Messi and Xavi and Iniesta. He just gets complete teams because I think we can all agree what he did with the City team this season is if all of us were given Man City in 2016-17, the squad would not look like this. And if we were even given the squad from last season, we would not have played them like this. So I want to give special daps to Pep. And another manager is good evening.
Yeah,
Unai Emery. Massive what he did because Aston Villa with the legendary Steven Gerrard were heading, it was not looking good. So those are definitely my manager of the season nominations. One of those three. I don't mind who we go with.
Okay, not bad shots at all. Toby, who have you got as your manager of the season?
Manager of the season gonna have to be Pep Guardiola, man. I think what Malcom, just adding on to Malcolm's point, what he did with the squad, the way he changed it up mid-season, brought in new players. I think when you look at the players that they brought in, Akanji, yeah, he was good, but I didn't think he was this good. I think, there were certain people on the group telling me that he was a very good defender, but I never believed it. But he actually is a very good player. I think what he's done with a lot of the team, like I said, has been amazing. And then obviously Mr. Good Evening, bro. I think I even saw a stat. I think he said towards the end of the season, I think as soon as Emery was appointed, they had the third highest points or something, the points tally or something like that.
Yeah.
It was crazy what he did. He was behind Arsenal, Man City, and then Aston Villa. So what he's done is amazing. And then third, I'm gonna have to go De Zerbi, bro. Brighton, first time in Europe in how many years?
Oh yeah, facts.
So the first time in Europe. So that's a major thing. I wanted to make some space for Erik ten Hag just because I think of the way he's cleared out the club. Obviously, he had to dealt with the Ronaldo situation. Now Harry Maguire is not captain anymore. De Gea, he said, bro, sorry, man, your time to dip. So the way he's been stern and actually making things happen at the club, I have to commend it. But
I won't lie. I was sorry to cut you off there. I was gonna scowl until you justified Ten Hag. From that perspective, spot on. I think, that's real leadership.
This season, as in the way we played or stuff like that, because
right,
did what we could do. I'm talking about the ways trying to get the operations of the club moving and stuff. Like that.
Yeah,
but on
very
that
ballsy.
Oh nah. What's my name?
I'm really praying. I'm praying Black Keeper tax is real because fuck, I'm scared. I won't lie.
Hey man, this man said I pray. How can you're so anti-black? What the hell? Man said I pray that down.
And sorry, dude. Also, just to add on to the Pep points, because you mentioned players he brought in, but on the back end of the Ten Hag points you made, I also think selling João Cancelo is probably the most ballsy thing I've ever seen in my life. He literally sold.
I would have done that. I told you guys about João Cancelo.
Here goes Mr. AG.
Yeah, you would have sold. You would have sold your second best player mid-season because you were benching him.
Nah, that's a cap, man.
I have said for quite some time that there's a lot wrong with Jao Cancelo. I
Okay,
feel like
no,
this is
I,
well documented.
second best player from the season prior. You would sell him mid-season when Arsenal are 8 points clear. Granted, it was a game in hand in City's favor. You would have said, "What I need right now is to sell the only left back I have in the club."
So I would have bought somebody else afterwards. He deserves his depth because you need to replace him with anyone, definitely.
Now,
But
yeah, but they
I
had
would have sold him.
Sergio Gomez.
You would have brought someone in mid-season
Definitely. But I would
For a
sell Jao
title
Cancelo.
charge.
for a title,
Every,
a title charge.
You would have sold him in January.
every
You're capping,
version of
dog.
me would have sold Jao Cancelo. Yes. What do you mean?
You're capping, dog. You're capping.
You said,
Okay, shut up,
sorry, Khanya, you said what? Every what? Every what?
Every version of me that exists in the multiverse would have sold Jao Cancelo.
Would you have sold Sanchez in 16, 17, 17, 18, sorry? No,
Alexis
16,
Sanchez.
17. 16, 17, when the rumbles of him unhappy started and he started to act a fool, would you have sold him that season too?
No, but I would have sold him in the summer when we should have to City.
Why wouldn't
Yes,
you
but
have sold him
we're talking about Cancelo being sold in January when they were
in
chasing
January?
Arsenal. Bro.
Yes, yeah.
Because in the Sanchez situation, there was nothing else in our team. We were dust.
City didn't have another left back. He literally made shift with Ake, dude.
Because Cancelo's not that good.
Oh my god.
Okay,
I don't
This
know how to do this, guys.
this one might need an episode of its own. So we'll move on swiftly to you, LLM, and you tell us about your manager of the season.
My man of the season is Luciano Spalletti. I think winning the league with Napoli and then dipping immediately afterwards is one of the most satisfying managerial stories I've seen in a very long time. And he left almost entirely because of pride, and he felt he's being disrespected. And I have a massive appreciation for that. How he lost to Milan in the quarterfinals, I think only heritage can explain. I don't really think I've made
Or
sense
not-
of that even
or
as a
not
Milan
having-
fan.
Or not having Osman playing, that's also something that can explain it. So
To a certain extent, but yeah, Luciano Spalletti is definitely my guy. I have a great deal of appreciation for what he did last season.
Not bad, not bad. For what it's worth, I'm gonna be that guy. I'm gonna give it to Eddie Howe just because sometimes it's easy to look back on it and say, oh, well, he was well resourced and he had everything set up to do well. But in terms of what a manager has to do, with the expectation that he had and just the sense that he's in control at Newcastle, reaching a final, finishing in the top four this season after the good progression from the takeover. Like they could have very easily had the season that Aston Villa or Brentford had, where they had a few big scalps and good results, or even Brighton, where they had some good results and made some progress. But to actually get that top four, to take Newcastle back into the Champions League, that's a massive achievement. Like to get in the Champions League is a massive, massive achievement, and it's so easy that couldn't have happened. But for him to kind of be in the top four the whole season and to reach a final, because a lot of the times, a manager will come into Spurs and the expectation will be, well, he'll take us to a cup final, or even a Chelsea manager or a United manager. To get to a final, you expect these things when you're not really challenging. But for him to actually get to that Carabao Cup final, I'll give it to him because he just seems to be the guy who's exceeded expectations at Newcastle. So I'll give it to him.
And to add to that point, massive depth needs to. We always speak about managers having ethos or having an identity. He definitely signed players that were unconventional, right? Like you had or signed or utilized players that were unconventional and more so in line with his mentality in how he manages. Like obviously Isak, we all know how good of a player he is, but it was kind of a questionable signing at the time for a few, because a lot of the heat and attraction that he had garnered over the years had kind of died down when he got injured and he didn't come to Arsenal. And now you look at someone like Almiron, you look at Willock, you look at Joelinton. I think Joelinton embodies this point the most. Like Eddie Howe, it wasn't, to your point, Thabani, it wasn't just spending money. It was how he spent it and how he envisioned each and every single signing complementing his system. Another one of my great hits was talking how Newcastle are just the most athletic team in Europe, in my opinion. And that's intentional on Eddie Howe's part. So that's a good shout, dude. I actually overlooked him there. And I may actually just scrap everyone and go with him because, yeah, bro, niggas wanted him to fail. Let's not get Kanye's tweets in this, but there are a few people that wanted him out. And it's great that he was able to do this. Newcastle are historically the third biggest team in the UK. So this is massive.
Yeah, man. Credit to Newcastle. Credit to Eddie Howe. We'll then just move it on to team of the season. One team, can be any team, just that stood out to you. What was your team of the season, Sheiks?
Oh, I thought we were just gonna say on Man City on 3, but okay, yeah, Man City.
You're gonna go for the. It's a conventional answer, but I don't have a problem with it. I think they were just they reached a stage where, and Gary Neville told us that they were gonna kick into gear.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's, any other takers though? T-Boy, what do you think? What was your team of the season?
I have to say, okay, in terms of the football, I'm obviously gonna have to say Arsenal, man. Like that one, with that stage when they're wearing that blue kit, not the blue, the pink kit, just smoking teams. They had that. They used to, when they were standing in that line and they have the video coming across to all the players, and it's just, oh yeah, these guys are gonna cook this game. Everyone knows that Arsenal, they were just gonna cook that game. So I'm gonna have to say, for me, the way they played their football, man. I saw a tweet, someone saying it's the best football they've seen ever, but that's a cap, obviously, in the Premier League. But nah, at a stage it was actually crazy. They were wiping teams on the floor.
That sound you used on TikTok it killed me.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Martinelli has the ball. Saka has the bro. You just
know, that was scary.
You just know that these Oaks are gonna score. Something's gonna happen. So yeah, I just hope it's not the same this season with that T-Rex guy having the ball and doing things, bro.
Yeah,
that shouldn't be overlooked. I think Arsenal did season where the game was over before it started. They definitely had that stretch when they looked unbeatable. How many times did I find myself saying like, "Geez, Arsenal are going to win the league," because I just didn't see anyone beating them. So yeah, that's not a bad shout at all,
bro. No. Sorry, before we go to Khanya, bro, to answer your point, nothing embodies what you're saying more than Bournemouth away. Oh, that game! I'm sure Khanya can even agree. Like, that game was peak vibes, bro. That's when they made the Saliba chants. We were just absolutely ridiculous. Yeah, that game, Thabani, is what I feel when you're like, after that game is where I started to feel a bit cocky for the first time in years when it came to
left foot, right?
When he scored that banger, right? Yeah.
That's the match I'm talking about in the pink kid where like in the sun, the vibes. I was just like, oh my days. It might
scary hours, bro.
That was the game.
Nah, but the way Bournemouth played that day, they made Jesus look like Messi reincarnate, man. No wonder Ndai was hacked with them, man. No wonder. LLM, I suspect you and I might have the same shout, but I'm going to let you go first. Who is your team of the season?
Napoli.
It has to be Napoli, brother. 90 points.
There we go. There we go.
Points.
Indie Khanya.
Nah.
What Napoli did this season isn't small. The last time they won was when they won with Maradona.
100%.
I've never seen Maradona on TV, Oaks.
Nah, hard. But when was the last time City won a quadruple? A triple, sorry.
Look, if we're gonna give it to City, then there's no point asking this question. You're asking me who my one was.
Okay, you're right. I'm sorry. You're right. Sorry.
Give me a chance.
Seems like I've got a bandwagon to pick now, but I will jump on the Napoli one just because what they did kind of resonates with me a bit more. Keen listeners will remember our Serie A episode when I kind of spoke about how I was falling in love with Serie A again, and just the fact that they're the fourth winner in 4 years, if I'm not mistaken. I might have that one wrong, but something like that. But yeah, just to have that.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah,
there was a stage when people were talking about Napoli winning the Champions League, and that doesn't happen unless you're doing something really serious. Because as much as Inter Milan have been good in previous years, and AC Milan, and we know about PSG, to be spoken about as a favorite or an outside favorite for the Champions League means you're cooking something special. So I think Spalletti and the boys can take my team of the season award. I have no problem giving that to them. We'll then segue back into players, and I'm gonna go in reverse order now, starting with you, LLM. I want your player and young player of the season in one go, please.
This is a very difficult one, honestly, because here, as much as I wanted to be a very hipster pick, I want to pick like my niche guy who is performing when no one else is watching. Guys, it's Rodri.
Indie Khanya.
It's Rodri. Rodri's my player of the season. I
Jesus
honestly,
Christ.
I honestly don't think I have.
Who do you say?
Rodrigo.
Yo, yeah. Is this a Spanish accent? Why are you saying his name like that?
I just think, well, for me, it was a toss-up between Rodrigo and Gundogan. I think those were the two players that City had complete reliance on. I don't think that they get in. Like, I don't think they win the league if one of those two players isn't there. I think that they could have found another striker to do what Haaland did for them this season. I don't think that.
Oh, sorry, Kevin.
I don't think that City are the same team without those two players. I think.
Yep. Retweet.
Yeah. Honestly, it's I don't know. I think it's like it's quite simple. It's why I'd pick those two players. Well, one of those two players.
To kind of sorry, Khanya, to just add to that, I think I heard Toby exclaim when you made the point about Haaland, and I'm not coming at you, Toby, but again I agree, Khanya, because knowing what you know now about Osimhen, does anyone here think that Osimhen couldn't do what Haaland did this season?
I don't, because I think a lot of what Haaland did was like there was lots of debates about his football ability and what he brings to Man City from a football point of view, but to kind of be a Twitter guy here, I think the aura that Haaland brought to that Man City team as a front runner for that kind of team, as the face of that team, as the guy who's responsible for scoring all those goals, like I don't think any other striker elevates City to that point where week in, week out, above all the other players that they have, there is one player that you fear. I don't think Osimhen has that. Kane has that, but Kane plays for Spurs. It's different if Kane played for City. I think just being Haaland, who he is, what he's about, starting the season the way he did, I don't think there's another player who could match him for that. And that gravitas that he adds to City, which we know intangibles matter.
I think that's true with everyone else other than African strikers, because there was a period where Yakubu was the most feared man in the Premier League, and that just speaks to the fact that when an African striker gets firing, you know the superlatives they use for our people, bro. Powerful, strong, strength, grip, all of that African grip, all of that nonsense. So like it's a thing of, I hear you with Kane, but on Osimhen specifically, I think, again, knowing what we know now about the guy, I agree with Khanya. I think you put in Seaman in this City team and the results are the same. Maybe not record breaking 36 goals, but he's in the 30s for goals.
I won't disagree with you. I just again, knowing what I know now, when you have a fantasy team, you put Haaland in, he's your captain. He's the guy who you're going to put your triple captain bet on. I get you on your point about having, when an African striker gets going, like I really, really resonate with that point. But I just feel like that when you have that level of expectation, right? Like I don't think anyone went into the season expecting Osimhen to have a great season. Right. And it's very different when you sign for Man City with the reputation Haaland did. Like that can go one of two ways. You can either score goals, but not as many as people expected, and then like, oh, he'll grow and he's still Man City striker, and they finally got to the number 9. Or you can have the season he had where he was literally like breaking records from jump. Like he just went berserk from jump. Like his goal scoring drought came at the end of the season, which is like so. The fact that he just delivered week in, week out, the fact that at one stage he was the problem, and then his game actually, like we watched his game develop as well. And all while this was happening, he didn't have any off-field moments. He didn't have any like drama that took away. He was just scoring goals, man. But
yeah, no, you're right. The goodwill is a very fair point, because City kind of needed that name to kind of take the heat and the pressure so that other Oaks could cook, because City don't do very well under pressure. And Aguero used to be that, but obviously the last 2 seasons with injuries and stuff, it kind of, they lost that figure. So you are right. I can concede on that. That is true. See, I think in terms of, I guess if I could split hairs, in terms of the football played, I think Osimhen could have done the same thing. But I think in terms of context and what this season meant for City, Haaland is the guy. You are right.
100%. Yeah. Toby, we'll jump to you. Give me your player and young player of the season.
Young player of the season, probably Bukayo Saka. Player of the season, I'm stuck between Erling Haaland and Casemiro, to be honest. Those are the 2. Well, bro, it's mine. I don't know why. It's mine.
I'm sorry, you're right. Yeah, go off.
Please, those are the 2 Oaks that I'm really stuck. Like personally, I'm stuck. But I'm gonna have to probably go with. Yeah, I think Haaland. I'll go with Haaland. I think for me, like there was a lot of pressure on him to come and bang, and he did. We knew that he probably gonna have to come to the league and at least be scoring at least 20+ goals, and he did. All that pressure from all the Dortmund, where else? Salzburg. He was banging goals season after season. Everyone said, is he going to come and make the Premier League his own? And he did. So we have to commend him there. You guys, I know you want to see your strikers doing Gabriel Jesus looking like Messi things, but it's all about the goals, mate. And obviously,
For you.
Jesus couldn't do that, but he could.
Okay, so
Fair
I had
enough.
no idea where Jesus came into all of this, but yeah, sure. go ahead, Thabani.
No, I mean, I just gave a whole soliloquy about Haaland, so I'm not really gonna
Yeah.
add on to that. I think, yeah, I agree, man. To just and Sheiks, I know I've mentioned our Ballon d'Or debate on this episode. I think you weren't there, but for Haaland to be in Player of the Year conversations, treble conversations, Man City's best player conversations, to live up to the hype, to be like
Yeah,
he's now face of the league. Like he's just impressed me so much. Like because it's so easy for him to not reach that level. And I don't think anyone would
Right.
have like been hacked if he had not like scored 30 goals. Or no one would have like had a go at him if he had like a 20-goal season and City only won the Premier League. It would have still been a great success. But for him to kind of deliver on that expectation, because think about it this way. What can he do next season that'll beat this season? Win another treble, score 37 league goals? Like those would be crazy things to do. So I think, yeah, I'm going to have to stick with Haaland on that. And I think before we jump to you, Sheiks, I'll just throw in a sort of obvious, but not that obvious young player of the season. My young player of the season is Vinicius Jr. And I will have to own up to a mini miss of mine. It's a very baby miss of mine. But I did question, I think midway during the season, I'm not sure if it was before or after the World Cup. I was looking at Vinny's numbers after the season he had the season before, and I was like, this guy's output has dipped. I don't hear about him that much. I watched Madrid like in bits and pieces, but then for him to just turn up on the run in that Champions League run, and while they were chasing Barca, even though they weren't really that great in La Liga, there was a few games where I watched Vinny play, and I was like, this is the guy. Like he just gives that you spoke about Neymar's tenacity. Like we play through this guy, and if he plays well, he gives the rest of the team belief that we can play well. He just has that energy about him. And to finish the season with the numbers that he did, I don't even have them in front of me, but he had another strong season combining with Benzema. He obviously had that great game against Man City, despite them going out in that second leg. He is Madrid's guy. He is Madrid's guy. So I'll give him my Young Player of the Season award. But I think then to close, we'll close with you, Sheiks. And I want to hear this. Who's your player and Young Player of the Season?
So young player, there's only one option. The greatest export out of Lagos, Nigeria, Bukayo Saka. We know that Bukayo was just something different. I know people are giving him shit for kind of dying out near the end. I put that on Arteta and his lack of ability to rotate. And, you know, you have other gems there that could do a job in certain games, but Arteta is kind of a bit too bullish for his own good, similarly to Pep. And if he doesn't trust you, he won't play you. So, yeah, but Bukayo, absolutely phenomenal. Similarly to the point you made about Haaland, in terms of like what you're describing of Haaland, it reminds me of like Ronaldo's tenure in La Liga. Like he did everything he came to do. Like what can you really complain about? I kind of feel that way about Bukayo, not as a player holistically, but as a young player. We often have debates about the diminishing returns of footballers as the game evolves, in the sense that players are given more depth for things that were kind of expected. You know, you look at like a Phil Foden, for example, and the conversations that's around him versus what Wayne Rooney was doing at the same age, right? It's not the same. It doesn't hold the same weight. Wayne Rooney was far superior. But with Bukayo Saka, I look at him and I compare him to young players of old. The most notable at Arsenal was Cesc Fabregas. And I think his season in terms of quality and in terms of carrying the load was same degree, same level. There's no drop off of quality. There was a period where week in, week out, most notably or most emphatically against Man United at the Emirates, where I was like, what are we going to do? And that little beautiful Nigerian man would just pop up. So yeah, Toby, your country stocks are literally all riding on him. In terms of player of the season, I'm going to go with Ilkay Gundogan because, yeah, man, again, I love Kevin De Bruyne, who, you know, I know you may come off. Kevin De Bruyne is like for those who know, is like Drake for me. I appreciate him. I think he's an all-time great, but I think his achievements are kind of diluted, and nothing emphasized that more, and nothing was more poetic for me than Gundogan winning City that FA Cup and City getting the Champions League done without Kevin De Bruyne on the pitch. So, and if people will listen to this and say, why not Kevin De Bruyne? I'd say his contributions make City, it takes Kevin De Bruyne is kind of that. I don't want to say he's complimentary because he's more than just complimentary, but he's almost that player that takes a good team and makes them fucking superb. Gundogan, for me, can make an average team incredible at this day and age. In this day and age, at this point of his career, when he's like 32, 33. So I look at this season from City, and I truly believe if you remove Gundogan, none of this happens. You remove KDB, it may not happen as well, but I still think Gundogan is good enough to carry City further than KDB can carry City, in my opinion. And that may just be me being a bit of a purist or when it comes to my football opinions. But yeah, that whole City team was playing through him. Rodri was also another close shout for this one, not Casemiro. And I just want to give a special shout out to what's the guy's name? Newcastle's assistant manager, Jason Tyndall. Yes. I want to shout that lad out because he found a way to make the season about him, and he's the first assistant manager personally, other than Arsenal, who I've known. So I just want to give him a bit of a random shout out for player of the season, even though he's not a player. I want to give him some spotlight.
Nah, heard. And there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Our awards are done, our hits and misses are done. And I guess we can say our coverage of the 2022-23 season is done. That's it for this season. We'll be back very, very soon, with more debates, more hits, more misses, more chops. Thank you so much for the support. Thank you so much for the plays and the listens, the shares. We really, really appreciate it. And we're looking forward to next season. Gents, thank you so much. We'll catch you on the flip.